talk about crafting extraordinary customer experiences. Let's go back to what we talked about earlier, this idea that your primary competitive advantage is your ability to create human experiences. I don't care if you're in the pawn business, I don't care if you're in quilting or pet or anything. The competition is there, isn't it? Expectations are up, loyalty is down. So how do you compete? One of the ways that you compete is by pricing, but you don't want to play that game. The game that you want to play is the experience game. You want people to come into your store and be so excited about the experience that they had that you become the only choice. Does that sound right? So that when they need to buy what you sell, they don't think, where should I go? They think, when can I make it into the pet bistro? When can I make it, into your store? That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. The thing to understand.
I'm doing a piano. Sorry, I just went, no, you're in my way.
Are you going to come this way? Can I flex again? Okay. I'm messing her up.
You're messing me up, man.
Okay, so the thing to understand is that customer experience is more than big gestures. A lot of people think, I'm going to create an amazing customer experience, and they think, what is the big thing? And we're going to get to that. But really, a great customer experience executed consistently is structural. There we go. Is structural. And when you understand the structure, you can now execute a lot more efficiently. We talked about this earlier today. Susan did. This idea of a dumbbell or a barbell, one on each side. Susan did a thing going all in on the human advantage, a breakout. But that's what we're talking about here. How many of you measure dollars per square foot? Good. Many of you do. Guess what? What we want to do is we want to start thinking about experience per square foot. How much amazing experience can you pack into your store? Asking those questions, thinking those questions through, making sure that you're structurally building your business that way. That's the way to do it. And Susan and I have come up with a concept, a framework called the Customer Experience Pyramid. Some of you may have seen this already, but this idea of it's not just about the cherry on top, it's not just the wow, it's the whole thing. So Susan, do you want to talk about this?
Sure. What we like about the Customer Experience Pyramid is that it is about the systems and the processes that you're putting in place to create the experience. It's not just, make everybody feel good. No, because that doesn't work, because some people will and some people won't, and some people will do it right and some people won't. You want the systems in place so that you have this amazing experience, so that the customer experience works like this, but feels like this. This is what your customer feels.
Isn't that a great animation?
Right? But behind the scenes, what's working your customer experience are these processes, systems, not just hoping and wishing, not just friendliness.
Well, and I think that that's an important point. Too many people think that the customer experience is driven by good, kind, helpful people. Good, kind, helpful people are an important part of it, but it's only part of it. It's so much more. And it starts with your philosophy. What is your philosophy, not only about your business, but what is your philosophy about your customers? What is your philosophy about your team? Paul talked about that a little bit this morning, this idea that Pacifico, they were all in on their team. And so thinking about what is your philosophy. And it's really important to think about this idea of givers get. The rule of reciprocity. The rule of reciprocity is simply givers get. How many of you have heard the rule of reciprocity before? Most of you. Okay, so we're not going to go into illustrating it and things like that. But just recognize this is the rule of reciprocity is a social psychological rule that if you give something to someone, they feel a need to give back. It's a rule. And so when you understand that rule, you can start to apply the philosophy of WWMCW. Does anybody here know what WWMCW is? There we go.
Let's
Good.
hear it.
Let's hear it. All right, very good. Thank you.
What would my customer want?
That warms me to my soul. But no, that's exactly right. So when you start thinking about your business through the lens of WWMCW and you start making decisions based on what your customer wants, not what you want, things start to change. And we'll give some examples of that as we go on here.
I want to say one quick thing about philosophy. Even if you don't think that you have customer service philosophies, you're like, I don't have a philosophy. What is that? I have no idea. You have them. They're in your head. They're your beliefs about your customers and their relationship with your store. You might have the belief that customers are taking advantage of you. You may have the belief that nobody wants to work anymore. These are all the beliefs and the philosophies that you have. Really important that you identify if you have any of these negative beliefs, negative philosophies that aren't going to serve you, and replace them with ones like this, like WWMCW, that will help you build your business. So hidden negative philosophy is important to consider.
And I think that what you said is so important. And that's what I was talking about this morning, this idea of choices, right? When you start to feel anxious or when you become frustrated with a customer, right? You ask yourself, am I doing right by this person? Or am I just frustrated because they're not behaving the way that I want to behave? When you let yourself go, when you allow yourself to feel good about your customers in the aggregate, good things start to happen. So WWMCW, how you think, what you believe, and what that leads to is really the foundation. Susan's idea of a belief of customers, people will try to take advantage of me. If that is your belief, you're never going to build a truly customer-focused business. Why? Because every time something doesn't go the way you want it to go, you're going to fall back into, they're trying to take it, doggone those people. For those of you who are on WhizBang Retailers, our Facebook page, you see this all the time. People are accusing their customers of behaving badly, when in actuality, if they just let it go, it would all be all right. Yeah. That givers get attitude will go a long ways. Now, let's go and let's start talking about policies. Because policies, now here if I had a soapbox, I would get on it. So your policies are a direct reflection of your philosophies. You say that again, your policies, which is why I don't like policies in general. Sometimes you need to have a policy, don't you? But in general, if you love your customers, the money will follow. So do your policies reflect a WWMCW philosophy? Let's walk through these real quickly. Susan, you can interrupt me and tell me if I need to be quiet or slow.
You're doing great.
Okay. So your return policies. You know what my recommended return policy is? What would you like me to do? What would you like to do? Guess what? So I'm going to talk to all you pet people here. So I worked with Tomlinson's in Austin several years ago, and they told me about the 3-bag idea. And they said if somebody comes in with a bag of food that's only been a little bit eaten, and because the pet didn't like it, they return it. No problems, no hassles. They come in the second time with a bag of food and the pet doesn't like it. No problems, no hassle. A direct opposite of how most people behave. But what they said is if I get to the 3rd bag of food with a pet owner, that pet owner is my customer for life, end of story, period. So they had to eat 3 bags of food to get to the customer and their lifetime value. But your return policy is a reflection of how you think about your customers. Maureen has a "what would you like me to do" return policy. And when we were talking about it, we were talking about margins and returns. And what she said was that after she changed her policy, Maureen has a women's clothing store. And she said before she learned about this, before she changed her policies were very, very typical of the industry. You have 7 days to bring it back. It better have the tags on it. It better not have been worn. And it better look like it's brand new, or you can't return it. And if you can return it, you can't return it for anything but an exchange. Basically, you bought it, it's yours. But then she changed her return policy to, "what would you like me to do? If you're not happy with something you bought at Skirt, by golly, we're going to make it right." And her returns actually went down. It's counterintuitive, isn't it? You have a better return policy, people are going to take advantage of you. No, when you trust your customers, when you love your customers, the money will follow. So I'm asking all of you, think about your return policy and ask yourself, is it showing your customers the love? Is it showing your customers the respect? Special orders. Are you protecting yourself, or are you making it easy for people to do special orders? Same thing with holds, repairs and alterations. Here's the problem that people have. They get burned once or they get burned twice, and they create a policy that protects them but doesn't necessarily make it easy for the customer. All right, so now here's my next one. Somebody's over there smiling. Your store hours. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not open 7 days a week, you are not giving your customers the experience they deserve. I'm just looking at everybody. Not only are you not giving your customers the experience they deserve, but you're missing out on 52 days a year of business. A customer's too precious to let them go someplace because you're not open on Sunday. I just don't know how else to say it, but as strongly as I possibly can. You know, big brands don't close on Sunday. Our local hardware store, independent hardware store.
I was just going to tell the story. So our local independent hardware store, like, closes at noon, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, 1.
1. Oh, 1. They're open till 1.
Yeah, on Sunday.
Excuse me, on Sunday. Guess when a lot of people do their projects? If you have a job and can afford to go to the hardware store.
If you're working on your yard.
Like, you don't just, you know how many times we've gone to Home Depot, sorry to say, on Sunday afternoon because our local guy's not open? We want to shop with him.
And
but
again,
we need to get our project done.
So using the pet business, somebody has a day off and you're not there. Well, go on Chewy. Once somebody goes to your online competition, they tend to stay there.
Or any of your competition.
Any of your competition. So I'm just looking at you, you know, your success is so important to us. And for me to do anything but sort of come on strong about this is not doing you a disservice, because I really believe, you know, pet business. PetSmart's open on Sunday. I need pet food. The grocery store's open on Sunday. You need to be there for your customers. Those are policies that reflect how you feel about your customers. Access, pets, bathrooms, kids. Oh, man. Bathrooms. Don't get me started. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? Because this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where the rubber hits the road. So if you don't let kids use a bathroom, parents leave and will never return. If I were to ask, all of you or many of you would have a story about that, right? You had young kids, you went into a store. Look, people are going, uh-huh. You had young kids, you went in a store. No, public bathrooms 3 blocks down to the left. Guess what? The kid's doing it himself. You know, there's a problem. You're not coming back ever, ever, ever. So price matching. Now, this is an interesting thing too. I'm not talking about a low price guarantee. I'm talking about price matching. So I have seen this done very, very successfully. And I didn't believe it at first, but then the more I started thinking about it, you just have a price match. So if somebody comes in and they have what you sell at a lower price, you match it. And so you won't get very many of these returns. And by the time that you add in the shipping and all those things, there's not going to be much of a difference. But the thing that it does is it makes your customers feel comfortable that your pricing is fair. And it's not always, but anybody here in the uniform business? I learned this at the Uniform Retailers Association. Woman says, we're talking about pricing. She says, my front window says we match any price. That's her front window. And she said, my customers never question my price because if they find it someplace cheaper, they can come in.
You don't want to lose the customer.
Yes, you don't want to lose a customer. A customer is too precious. Employee dress or behaviors, you want to talk about that real quickly?
Yeah, well, dress code, are you holding your, employees to, a dress code standard that is what your customer wants, not what your employees necessarily want to wear to work. What your customer wants to experience when they come in. So all these different little policies.
All of these things really, really start to add up. Privacy.
It's all about just asking yourself, really, truly, what would my customer want in each one of these areas? And how can I give it to them?
And so I spent a little extra time on this topic because I think that's so important. This is where so many independent retailers get it wrong. They feel an emotional connection to their customers, but then when it comes time to take that feeling and turn it into a concrete set of actions or a concrete set of policies, it doesn't play itself out. So understanding your WWMCW philosophy and then making your policies reflective of it, it's a great, great, great way to build your business. So you've all heard me say it before. There's only 3 ways to grow your business. Get new customers, increase the average ticket, and get more transactions per customer. Loyalty is more transactions per customer. The big money is in more transactions per customer. This is how you get the kind of loyalty that translates into significant lifetime value. And lifetime value is what it's all about. So the question becomes, isn't somebody going to take advantage of me? I know that some of you were thinking that in your head as I was saying these things. If I have a generous return policy, isn't somebody going to take advantage of me? All of these things. And so what is the answer? Anybody? Yes. Of course they will. I don't know why Susan made this slide with me going like that.
It's funny.
Of course they will. But of course they will. Of course they will. But the aggregate, we're always looking at the aggregate. We're looking at the entirety of your customer base. If you treat people right, there's always going to be a very, very small percentage of them who are going to take advantage of you. But the rest of your customers are going to love you for the way that you think and the way that you act. That's what it's all about. Again, lifetime value, loyalty. That's how it happens. So this is one of my favorite quotes that I ever created.
Quotes of myself.
I'm proud of myself for this one. Never let an incident create a customer unfriendly policy that punishes the many for the bad behavior of the few. What does that mean? That means that person comes in and they're taking advantage of your generosity. They want to return a dress that they wore to a special event. And you know what? The tendency is to go, I'm never going to let anybody do that again. And you create a policy that punishes all the rest of the people. So that is a quote to think about, because there's a difference between an incident and a problem. An incident is something that happens every once in a while. A problem is something that happens regularly and needs to be addressed. Does that all make sense? Do you all agree with what I'm saying? I know there's probably some mental pushback in the room, and that's okay. Caleb's giving me a thumbs up. There you go. Caleb is a manager at Mac Kite, which is our old business, my old business, and they live that customer philosophy. So good. All right, staff. You want to talk about staff, Susan?
Yeah, well, I talked a little bit about this in my breakout. So like I said, they got the 60-minute version, and you guys are all going to get the videos of the breakouts too. So if you weren't in the room for that, you'll be able to see it. So your staff is so important, and here's the thing, guys. You need to have a team of superstars. Yay, it's Maureen's team. Because she has a team of freaking superstars. You have to have a team of superstars. You can't have, one or two superstars, like about 4 in the middle that are meh, and maybe one that like really has to go, right? You can't have it, because this is where we get that face-to-face with our customers. You really need a team of superstars.
And here's Murphy's Law of Retail. So if I were to we won't do the exercise, but I'll ask real quickly, does anybody here have a customer that's been worth over $100,000? One customer over $100,000. Many of you. So Murphy's Law of Retail says that if you have a team of 10 and 4 of them are superstars and 5 of them, well, one day they may be great, the next day they're going to be terrible. Who knows who's going to show up? And you got one chump, that's what I call them, chumps. That $100,000 customer is going to come, and who's going to help them? The chump every time, right? And so that $100,000 customer is never going to come back. So
yeah, you need a team, a full team of superstars. So we talked about this idea too, that you guys, selling is the #1 activity in your store. Period. You got to sell. Like if you are not selling stuff, and your team is not selling, your customers are not getting the service they deserve. Because great selling, actual good relational selling, is the very best customer service in your store. It's not the fancy, wow factor. It's that face-to-face relationship building. I'm going to help you get the very best thing for you that's in my store.
Go ahead, no.
We call it the perfect purchase. You want to talk about perfect purchase?
I'll talk about the perfect purchase. But what I was going to ask everybody to think about is think about the best person, the best salesperson in your business. Who's got the highest average ticket? When you think of that person, almost always that person also gives the best service. The reason they're selling so much is because they're engaged, they're understanding what the customer wants. Am I right? So I see people out there nodding their heads, because the great salespeople give great service. They're not doing the triple behind the back close. They're empathetic, they care, they listen, they're doing great work. And it almost happens naturally that they sell more stuff. So the perfect purchase was actually a concept that we created because I got really tired of sales trainers talking about how to get the biggest sale. It was always about the salesperson and what was being sold, and it was never about the customer. But at the Mackinac Kite Company, it was always about the customer. I told my team every day, nobody needs a kite. You need to get out there and ask good questions. You need to find out who it's for. You need to give them great service. So it became the perfect purchase because we sell. They purchase. It's about them, and when you keep it focused on them, you're going to get them to the perfect purchase. Yeah. So there's a process to it, and it's the 6 steps to the perfect purchase. We're not going to go into them today, but I will tell you that our best clients are all using the Retail Sales Academy. The Retail Sales Academy is our online selling platform, and I train your people how to sell. And if I can humbly say, I was a really good retail salesperson, and I'm a really good sales trainer. So if you want me to teach your people how to sell on the floor with a system the 6 steps to the perfect purchase, so that your people get to a perfect purchase and they come back and they become loyal, then go see our team out in the back and they'll tell you all about the Retail Sales Academy.
Yeah, I want to go back to this for 1 second.
Okay, sure, of course.
The reason that this slide is important is because this is the system. Remember, I showed you the thing, the sparkly unicorn, but behind the sparkly unicorn is the grinding system. This is the system. And this is what allows all of your employees consistently every single time to deliver that great service. It's not just, go be nice. That's not a selling system. That's not a customer service system or customer experience system.
So yes, and I'm going to ask another question. So I'm going to ask 2 questions actually. So I hate to even admit this, but can somebody tell me what time this program is supposed to end?
Oh, I know. 2:30.
2:30. Oh, we're doing great. Okay. It would be helpful to know these. You see me getting the evil eye over here? The professional stink eye. But anyway, so good. Now that I got that embarrassing moment out of the way, let me ask everybody a question here. Please write down something, because it's about service. And when people get great service, they tend to be more loyal. They'll come back again. But let's talk about it. So please write down your average ticket in your store and write down the average ticket of your best salesperson. Average in the store, average best salesperson. Would anybody be willing to care to share their numbers, average and best? Just shout it out.
You don't know your average ticket? Come on.
Go ahead, Brett. So 61 to 70. So I'm doing math 10%. In my head here.
10%.
10%, a little 12%. So, Britt, I'm going to say to you that every time someone other than that best salesperson is talking to one of your customers, it's costing you $9. And I know Britt, he's in the Platinum Mastermind group, so he's got 2 stores. So lots and lots and lots of transactions over the course of the year. So that $9 times every sale starts to really, really add up. And actually, Britt, your gap is pretty small. Most people have a 15 to 25% gap. Does that sound right? Does anybody here have over a 25% gap? You do, okay? So, but the point here is not only are people getting better service, but you're making more money. So making a commitment to sales training and making a commitment to yourself, your team members, your customers by having a really, really great sales team starts to not only pay in the long term by having more loyal customers, but it's going to make you a lot more money. So Shannon Townley from Pause and Effect Pet Spa said, I use it to train all of our retail staff, really changes the way they perceive selling. It also keeps us using the same techniques, so it's consistent. It's consistent. Again, our best clients are training their people how to sell. They're keeping them focused on selling. Okay.
And so I'm just going to quickly put this up. Not only is there the Retail Sales Academy on Brilliance, but I talked about this in my breakout, so we're going to just talk about it really quickly. Your company's custom course, we call it the Nest because it's like your home base for your team. You can put all of your own store-specific training on Brilliance so that not only are you doing training for your staff on selling, but all of the things, all of the standards, all of the policies and procedures that you want your team to deliver in the triangle, you can put it on Brilliance in a custom private course. So go out and see Marilyn. She's got templates to help you build your course, all kinds of great things.
But again, it goes back to that system. You know, you want to get to the unicorn where you feel really, really good about things. It's about consistently putting systems into place so that you don't have to train people all the time.
Yeah, this is the training system.
It's consistent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adrienne, where are you?
Right there.
There you are. Hi. This is Adrienne from Two Bostons. Guys, they have like 60 hours of training in their custom course right now. It's amazing, and their people are always training on it. And I don't know, how does it helping you? Yeah. She's training every single week. She's sending out a training video on what's happening in her company. I love this quote is from Andy, and I love it. He says, it's shortening their time from rookies to sales professionals who are performing on the floor. So that's what you need to do. Like, how are you going to leverage these digital technologies so that you have then time to actually work with your team?
And I think that it's so important. Paul was talking about Peter Gem and my relationship with Peter Gem from Hungary. And that was one of the things that I really, really encouraged him to do. It's like, Peter, you're the leader. They need to hear from you. Start doing a weekly video. Just talk to your people. Fire them up. You're a charismatic person, and do that. And he started doing that. He's like, Bob, it's working. It's like, yeah, of course it's working.
I have to say, too, that if you've got multiple stores and you're not in there every week, it's a fantastic way to have your face in front of your team members.
I love it.
They feel like
I'm just going to repeat, so in case everybody couldn't hear. She said, if you have multiple stores, it's a perfect way to have your face in front of all of your team members, even if they don't see you all the time. And I will also say, even if you have one store but lots of employees, the same thing. You might not cross paths maybe once a month with some of your people if you have a big company. And so you have to have this kind of training so that you're giving your passion, your enthusiasm, your excitement about what's happening in your company all the time.
Yeah, thank you, Adrienne.
That's great.
Good. Okay.
All right, next level to the pyramid.
So your store. Now, there's some people who just focus on marketing. There's some people who just focus on their store, making their store look good. I remember talking to a person, I won't name her, but she's been out of business for a long time. But she was struggling. She had a beautiful store, beautiful. It was merchandised beautifully.
Great assortment.
The great assortment, and it was a lovely store. People would walk in. This store is awesome, awesome. But she didn't like to sell, so she wasn't selling anything. And she was frustrated because she wasn't getting anywhere. Her business wasn't growing, and I was trying to coach her a little bit. And then finally one day, she didn't want to be coached. You could just tell. She didn't want to hear what I had to say. Finally one day, she just looked at me and she says, I just want to buy and sell pretty things. She's not there anymore. So you can have a great store, but it's not going to be enough. This is why there's a pyramid, and the store is really towards the top. So when you think about your store, recognize that there's this concept called moments of truth. So Susan, you want to go through some moments of truth?
Moments of truth are, again, we're talking about the customer experience in this session, and these are the moments that your customer experience your store and either has joy or I'll say disappointment.
Think about your own experience. When you walk in a store, something happens emotionally, right? You react to it, especially because you're independent retailers. You react to it. Those are moments of truth.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them. There are lots of them, and I would encourage you guys to start at your home and drive up to your store. Don't park in the employee parking area where you normally park. Park where your customers park. Walk in the front door like your customers walk in, not the back door where you walk in. And think about what are all these little moments of truth, these little touch points where they are experiencing your business and having delight or disappointment.
Here's another exercise for you to do. If you want an action item, send your people, send your team out to shop your neighborhood, to shop your district, to shop somewhere. But say, go into 5 or 6 or 10, whatever number you want to choose, but go into those stores, look around, tell me how you feel about what you saw, and then have a meeting about it. And what you're going to find is that most stores aren't very good. Can we agree with that? Most stores aren't very good. Tell you what, whenever I travel, I go and I shop. And I have this thing called in my head called an engagement-o-meter. You know, it's like from a cartoon where it goes from red to green. Red is lousy, green is great. And I have never been into a town where I have had, as a town, a green engagement-o-meter. Most of the stores you go into, you don't get greeted. Some stores you go into, you're actually treated with hostility. We heard a new one recently. Someone went into a store in our town in Grand Haven, and they asked, sort of mouthed, somebody was on a phone and asked, you know, where's the hats? And the person pointed with their foot.
This is a true story.
This is a true story.
Pointed with their foot. They were talking with their friend.
That's a new low, baby. That's a new low.
It was not a business call.
But have you ever gone into a store and somebody's on the phone and they actually turn their back to you? Think about your own experience. This is why I'm encouraging you to send your people out, because then they'll see, A, what is happening out there, and they'll see, B, how good you are or what you need to do to improve.
Hopefully you get good ideas to improve. So here are some of the moments of truth. When you're walking first thing into your store, the customers are going to notice, is it clean, well organized, well maintained? Are there dust bunnies in the corner? Are there lights out?
Is there food on the counter? Have people been eating at the counter?
Is your team putting their sodas on the counter? Clean, organized, and well maintained. There's a whole checklist that you could create of moments of truth around this one idea. These are your store operations systems. And this is your opening and closing checklist. This is your daily maintenance list. They are systems to put in place to start to deliver this very foundational, great customer experience. Just having a clean and well-organized store.
And there's another reason to get organized in general, because when you're organized, when your business runs on systems, when your business is organized, when your operating system is in play, it frees your team up to work with your customers. Because if your team members are always spending time putting out your fires, they don't have that bandwidth to go talk to your customers. I had a couple quit on me once. And I mean, they weren't married, but they were a couple, and they were good. They could really sell. This is when I wasn't a good merchant.
The before Bob.
This is the before Susan Bob. I wasn't a good merchant. I mean, I had a lot of energy. We sold a lot of stuff, but they quit. And so I was like, how can you quit? The Mackinac Kite Company is the coolest place in town to work. You can't quit. And they said, Bob, this place drives us crazy. Right? The stock room was trash. How many of you have a trash stock room? You don't need to raise your hand. There you go. But, so an organized person's going to walk into your stock room and go, ah! And that person, that energy that could go into your customers is now going into anxiety around your stock room. So all of these things all add up, and they free your team members up to do good things.
Appealing and inviting space. These are your visual merchandising systems. These are systems that you can put in place around changing your windows, changing your displays. Now, Crystal, are you still over in this corner of the world with the display, your AI display idea? There you are, you moved. Hi. So, you can create systems to create this appealing and inviting space that also is your marketing tool, visual merchandising, your marketing tool. What are your standards? Like, is your team just throwing that on the shelves? Or what are your standards? This one is really important. Enticing and engaging merchandise. Of course, you have to have the right merchandise. This is why it's so important that you have these inventory management systems in place. So assortment planning systems, and being in stock, in sizes, in colors. You want to tell your sock story?
Oh yeah, so, and they're not here, but there's a local Grand Haven store, and I almost quit shopping with them entirely, and I've spent a lot of money with them, but it would drive me crazy because I'd go in and they never had XL socks. It's like, how can you not have XL men's socks? What is going on here? And by the way, I pestered them relentlessly because I care about them. I pestered them relentlessly until they signed up with Management One. And now they have extra large socks in stock. And there are 2 inventory management specialists out there, Retail Smart Guys and Management One.
And CRS.
What?
And CRS.
And CRS, yes, exactly. I'm sorry. But, you know, so if you're not managing your inventory professionally and skillfully, you owe it to yourself to go to talk to those guys and find the right fit for you. Because when that person, that couple, finally got on board and hired a professional planner, all the things that Paul talked about this morning started to fall into place. All the things. So, yes.
So, you know, these two go together, right? The assortment and the inventory management. They go together, and your customer, no matter how much fun they're having in your store, if you don't have what they want to buy, they're not going to come back. They're not having a good experience. So part of the fun of coming into your store is like just exploring and being delighted by what they find in your assortment and having enough of it in stock that they can buy it.
So I want to tell another story here. So this is, again, a pre-Susan Bob and an after Susan Bob. So, you know, and I know that there's a lot of people in this room who are pretty new to retail, or, you know, you talked about investing in the retail mastery system. But before I knew Susan, I was just a guy. Steve and I were just guys doing business. You know, when we needed to buy something, we walked around with a yellow legal pad and we made an order. You know, we were running our business on energy and enthusiasm, not on skills. And when Susan came to work, when I met Susan and she came to work for me, all of a sudden, I remember clearly looking at her and going, somebody actually taught her how to do this. I didn't know that that was possible. I was trying to figure everything out on my own. And then she started talking about these things like assortments. I didn't know what an assortment was. So if you're listening here and you're going, I don't know what this is, I don't know what that is, I don't know what this is, don't beat yourself up. You're still smart. Just recognize that there's growth to be had. And then she started talking about being our buyer. And she said, I'm going to put an open to buy into place. And I go, what's an open to buy? I didn't know what any of these things were, right? And so I had a partner at the time who was the CFO for a chain, a regional chain of sporting goods stores, MC Sports. And Charlie said to me, he said, Bob, Susan's going to make you more doggone money. You know, how's Susan going to make me money, right? She's buying. Buying is walking around putting, you know, and calling them up on the phone. I had no idea. And then she put an open to buy into place. And within 90 days, all of a sudden, our margins went up. We had in-stock position. And most importantly, we had cash. It was like a miracle. We had cash. We were always doing a lot of business. We didn't have cash. So the reason I wanted to talk about that is when you start to think about how do you build that experience, all of these skills are part of that structure that you have to have in place. And I mean, when Susan brought those skills to the Mackinac Kite Company, it truly changed the way we did business, and it changed the outcomes.
All right.
So thank you, Susan.
Oh, you're welcome, dear. So the last part of the pyramid is the wow. And honestly, when you hear people out in the world talking about customer experience or customer service, this is the only thing they're talking about. But if all you did was the wow and you didn't do these other things to support, it's unsustainable and it doesn't work. It's important. It's great to do the wow, but it's unsustainable. So it's what we like to call the cherry on top. This is not the sundae. This is just the cherry on top. And the wow really comes from three things. Something that is unexpected, something that's maybe unnecessary or undeserved, like, oh, wow, I didn't do anything special. Wow, that really was exciting. So these are three things to keep in mind when you're trying to come up with wow ideas, and we have a few for you.
Yes, absolutely. Patty Zeller, did Patty make it?
She's not here.
She's not here. So Patty Zeller, she invites her best customers to a cookout, and every year she has a special branded beer. She works with the brewery, and they brew a beer together, and then it just becomes part of a big promotion.
Yeah.
It's great, you know. Big
wow.
Dog Blonde Ale. So
yeah. So like that's wow, right? How many stores do you participate with or shop at that invite you to dinner? Wow, you can do this, right? Coffee.
This is Stephen Felton from New Zealand, and he's got a photo framing business, and people come in and have their pictures processed, and while they're waiting, he doesn't serve them gas station coffee. He doesn't sell them instant Folgers. He's got a highest grade cappuccino machine there, and so when they wait in style. You know, it'd be easy just to put a coffee pot out there and let, you know, run it through. But no, he puts a little wow on it. And what he says is, it's easy for people to send their photos in and get them developed online and send to them, but they come to Stephen because they love the coffee. It's a wow.
You have champagne in the fridgette skirt, right? Champagne in the fridgette skirt. If you want a little champagne, maybe you go shopping today. So that's fun, same idea. Great bags and wrap. This is our friends at Moynihan Gallery. They've since retired, but she's an artist, and this is her custom artwork on her bags. It's like, it was so exciting to go shop there, even if you just bought a little teeny thing, because you knew you were going to get this amazing wrap. They actually usually put shredded glitter things inside of there too. So beautiful. And
if you don't, it sounds kind of weird, but if your bag game isn't high, go talk to Julie. You know, I mean, they really do good things, and you know, your bags are part of your branding. Yeah. And if, you know, talk to Julie. She's
in the break. We're going to have to hurry now.
Okay? Yeah, okay. There we go.
All right, thank you, Bouquet. Maureen does this. Just randomly sends out thank you bouquets to her customer, unexpected, undeserved. No, she says, nobody believes that we're actually sending them flowers. It's a wow. This is a great idea. Look for these one-off wow ideas. This guy said, hey, I was just having a conversation with a customer about a book that we were both interested in. He hadn't read it yet. I just sent him a copy of the book. I don't own a bookstore. I own a men's clothing store. The guy was a lifelong customer, referred customers to him because of one book. So how can you create that individual wow moment? That's harder to systematize, but what you can do is authorize all of your employees to do these.
That's exactly right.
Harder to systemize. We're going to have to skip our sharing.
Yeah, well, don't we have 5 minutes?
Yes, but we have more to talk about.
Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, we do. Okay.
All right, so that's our customer pyramid. Do you see how they build one on top of another? And it's a whole system, right?
Okay, can I have that?
Yeah.
All right, so you're listening to all of this, you're thinking about all of these skills, and you're, you know, getting better is what's going to change your results. And if you don't have the Retail Mastery System, this is my encouragement. If you have the Retail Mastery System, please raise your hand. Okay, so look around, and if you see somebody whose hand is raised and you don't have the Retail Mastery System, I'd encourage you to go up and say, hey, what do you think about it? What do you think about it? Because it really is, it's the way that you get the skills that you need to build the kind of business that you deserve. You know, money loves speed. I heard that from Britt. Money loves speed, and if you want to get where you want to go faster, you need to have the skills. And you can get all the free information you want, but if you can get a program where everything is organized, you're going to get where you want to go a lot faster and a lot more efficiently. So it's for owners and managers. I'm not even going to go through these. There's video lessons, there's audio lessons, there's books. The gentleman said he put all the books into an agent so that he could ask me questions. It's a brilliant, that's a brilliant idea. So the Retail Mastery System will be invaluable to your journey to becoming more successful. There's a bonus when you invest in the Retail Mastery System. That's 2 tickets to the Retail Success Summit. Next year is our 20th anniversary of the Retail Success Summit.
Woo-hoo!
But if you want, again, if you want to be better, invest in yourself. Do not be afraid. Invest in yourself. Go through it, and good things are going to happen for you. So the regular price of the Retail Mastery System is $2,997. If you buy it here, it's only $2,497. So you save $500. But now, you know, we're small businesses. We're all small businesses here. Cash flow is a real thing. It's normally $297 a month for 12 months. Now it's only $247 a month for 12 months. So if you're one of those people who doesn't have it and you saw somebody raise their hand, go up to them and say, hey, would that be worth $247 of my money? Just ask them that question. You blow $247 a month on stuff all the time, don't you? Bad buys. How many of you make $250 worth of bad buys every month? You know, everybody's raising their hands. So anyway, you can put it on a payment plan. You can add seats for your managers. You can invest in your managers. Only $97 a seat. Books. I'm old school. I like books. And if you want the books, you can add them. It's only $297. But here's the thing I want to say. If you don't have it and you're sitting on the fence, we'll take all the risk. You take absolutely no risk. Invest in the Retail Mastery System. Put it on the payment plan if you want. But if you're not thrilled, you have 90 days to send it back. You can go through the whole thing in 90 days. And if you don't say, wow, this is going to make me an enormous amount of money, call us up. We're not going to hassle you. We'll give you your money back. We know it works. So we'll end it with this. Peter Gem. Do I have to click it?
Yeah.
So this is Peter. You all heard Paul talk about Peter.
Hi, my name is Peter Gem, and I am the founder and owner of Dorko, a Hungarian footwear and apparel company here in Hungary. We have 60 stores now, selling almost 1 million pair of shoes a year. And we have been using the Retail Mastery System for more than 5 years. I studied everything like a scientist, what is in the Retail Mastery System, and it has helped our business immensely. I was also a little bit hesitant in the beginning to make a purchase, but I can tell you that every cent came back hundreds of times. So I would encourage everybody, to make the investment, because it will improve your buying, your selling, your operations, and everything in a really huge way. So I highly encourage everybody to do that. Bye.
Bye, Peter.
Bye. And Peter's such a good guy, and he's so smart. And he was already successful. And he just took what was in there. Like he said, he studied it like a scientist. Sometimes I'm talking to Peter, and he talks about things that I forgot was in there, right? Oh yeah, I forgot all about that, Peter. But the point is that no matter where you are on your retail journey, there's going to be something for you. Here's Todd, and Todd took the Retail Mastery System, and he doubled it. Hey, he's way more than $1 million now.
Yep.
but way more than $1 million. But you know, the Retail Mastery System, he invested at the National Retail Hobby Store Association, and he dug into it, and all of a sudden he went from 500,000 to $1 million. So is that a good investment? Spend 3,000 and get 500,000 back in 1 year? Yes. So that's the deal. So here is a QR code. You want to talk about it real quickly here?
Yeah, it's also in your book. And what I would just say is go out and talk to the team at the booth if you don't have it yet. You can look at it. You can explore inside Brilliance, and you can look at the lessons and see what's inside the Retail Mastery System and take a chance. It's actually not a chance, because if you don't like it, return it.
Yeah.
What would you like us to do?
That's exactly right. What would you like us to do? So anyway, that is that.